guys, Shanti Phillips here on the brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today gonna go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though the big release that comes out is Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm gonna have a review at the end of this video of the Blu-ray of that one. But I know there's a number of different retail exclusives of that one that come out today. Like I believe Target has like a Digibook one, like it has like the gallery book with it, and then Best Buy has a really cool like gold steelbook of that one. I feel like that might be one of the ones, the steelbooks that go really, really quick at Best Buy, so we'll definitely be interested in seeing, if they have any of them left, when I get there. I don't know, though, if there's any exclusives for the film, though, at Walmart. I'm not 100% sure, though, on that. But also, though, the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. So, definitely stay tuned for those at the end. And also, though, in the comments below, too, like I always say, let me know, what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I reviewed. If you guys have seen any of them, what you guys thought of the movies and everything. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Walmart we go. And I haven't been to this particular Walmart in it's like maybe like a little over a month or two. It's been quite a long time. There's a few things I haven't been able to find at Walmart, like they had like these Lego exclusive slip covers where it changes from the movie cover to the like characters in Lego form, but we'll see if they have any of them in here. And in here though, they actually do have a Bohemian Rhapsody exclusive. I wasn't sure if they did, and it's only at Walmart one here. That includes the Blu-ray, DVD, and a t-shirt in here, and that one's $24.99 for that edition. So it's $24.99 as well for the 4K, $19.99 for the standard Blu-ray, and $17.96 for the DVD of that one. So that's cool. Like I said, I had no idea they were going to have an exclusive of that one. Also that came out today was Rick and Morty Seasons 1 through 3 here collection here. It has all three of them together. This is actually interesting too, an exclusive, only at Walmart exclusive here of Norm of the North, Keys to the Kingdom. This is the second Norm of the North film in the series. I think there's actually going to be like maybe like 2 more of it. I'm not 100% sure though. Other than that though, in here today, one of the other things that came out today was Haunted Hospital. This one, and that one's $14.96 on Blu-ray. The Front Runner came out. I'm going to be talking about this one at the end of this video. And then the only other thing here that came out was at Eternity's Gate here, the movie starring William Dafoe. That one's $12.96. There's 2 empty spots here for like let's put it like that, but I can't see what that is. Bayou or something. I'm not sure what that one is. It's not put on the shelf. But other than that, though, that seems to be. Oh yeah, and the only other one too was Nobody's Fool, the Tyler Perry film. When we talk about that at the end, that one doesn't seem to be put out here as well. In here though, they do have these exclusive Lego covers where it goes from the the actual movie poster to the Lego form of them. There's some really cool stuff in here, like changes from like Harry Potter ones here, the Wonder Woman here. Some of them work better than others, but these are actually really cool. They're all $14.99, $7.99 for some of them, $9.99. Yeah, these are really cool. And this one here I really like, a Beetlejuice. This is for the DVD only though. But yeah, it goes with, this one's only $5.99. But these things here are really cool. This is the first Walmart that I've actually seen these ones in store. But that's strange that it changes to chunk though. But still really cool to see these ones in here. And these are 2 of the other things that came out today. This one, My Dinner with Herve, which is the HBO movie that about Herve from the Fantasy Island series, and he's done some other stuff as well, but I always thought of him from Fantasy Island. I haven't seen this one though. If you guys have seen that, let me know how that one was. Also, this series released today, this Nightflyers, the complete first season. This is another one. I don't know much of anything about this one. If you guys have seen this though, let me know if this one is worth picking up or anything. Like I said, I don't know anything at all about this one. I believe there's a Blu-ray as well, but they only had the DVD over there. And outside of this, Walmart, someone like put these VHS tapes out here that I guess they're getting rid of. Like this real old school Mad Max VHS here. Like this is a really, really early VHS from like, this is 1979. And then there's like a really old Terminator one sitting here. This is the most random thing I've seen, like VHS sitting outside of Walmart. And then this Bugs Bunny one here, and it has like a sticker came off like it was a rental. This VHS one here of Bugs Bunny, The Dark Crystal, and Jurassic Park. Like, so someone like was, and it even has a thing in here still. Oh yeah, it has a thing in here for like get $5 rebate on your Jurassic Park video for Jello. And oh yeah, and it has an ad in here for Beethoven and Beethoven Second. So this was really strange, really rare, and totally unexpected to just see sitting outside on top of the dumpster for these. Especially this is like a really old. Both of these ones are really old, like the original VHSs of these. Yeah, but that was super random and odd just to see those sitting out there on top of that dumpster, right around there, or on that dumpster right over there. But yeah, this particular Walmart though, I don't come to this one too often because it's one of the newer ones where they changed out the section and they have like TVs and stuff right above the movies. So they play like the trailers and stuff, and it's like kind of copyrighted stuff and hard to talk all over it and hard to like show things too well. But they do get in different stuff, like they had those lenticular slipcovers for the Lego one. They didn't have though one of the other Walmart exclusives I forgot to mention last week, and I ended up going to another Walmart like the following day after I did my video. They got in some exclusive DreamWorks Blu-rays. Like for the first time they've come to Blu-ray. I think Flushed Away was one of them, and one of the other ones was Over the Hedge film, and you know, it comes with a Blu-ray and a digital copy, and I got that one. It was like $9.99. Just to let you guys know, if you guys have seen people posting pictures of those online, at least as of right now, those ones are exclusives in Walmart. Into the Valley Thrift we go. And I haven't been in here in like well over, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months. It's been quite a while. It's always like shoe city in here though. There are so many shoes in this sixth section when you come in. But it looks like right over here now, there's not that many people over in the Blu-ray section. There's some in the movie section. There are some people. There's always like a whole lot of stuff on the bottom. So I gotta really look through all this and see what's new in here and if I can find anything out of print or different today. But we shall look through here, and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff down here on the bottom. See, like this, all these and all these ones down here. So gotta look through all this, so we'll see what we can find. And here's something that's surprising. I've never watched one episode of my entire life, and that's Baywatch. You actually don't see these very often in person at all anywhere. And like, yeah, you never come across these. They have the season 1 here for $3, season 2 here for $3. I mean, oh no, season 3 here. Yeah, this is one of those things that surprisingly, I've never watched any episodes of that in my entire life. I might actually get that for $3 just to actually see some of these. Like I said, I don't know how. It's one of those things I never saw at all. But like I said, I'm gonna go through all this. A lot of crying in here though, but I'm gonna go through, see if I can find anything out of print in here. But like I said, you don't see those Baywatch too often. There's certain shows. This is some weird thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, as you can see, it's always very busy in here, and you're always kind of in the way in here because it's really popular with the shoes in this section over here. What is this thing here? Margaret Cho, I'm the One You Want, like one of her stand-up specials. Like I said, there's definitely a bunch more stuff in here, and mixed through here are some Blu-rays. There's like not a lot in here, but a couple random ones all kind of mixed throughout everything in here. Simpsons ones in here, like the ones that are like these kind of cases that are like the comic book guy one here, and this one here of Maggie Simpsons. I like when they were releasing them like that. They didn't fit really well on the shelf, so I always usually got these ones more often, but every so often I got the ones in those cases. But since they were so big and awkward like the way they were, they didn't fit on the shelves too well, and they took up a lot more space. But nowadays they really don't release stuff too often in those kind of cases at all. I don't know what this is, some weird looking thing here from like 1992, some like Salvations. I think it's some kind of a religious thing or something, but it looks really strange, like there's like weird looking characters and stuff in this. This is really odd. I don't know if this is like a movie or something. It's like, yeah, this is really strange. This is another one. I might have to get that. I've never seen that in my life. That is very, very odd looking. Still, I'm still thinking about seeing those VHS tapes outside of the Walmart. That was one of the weirdest things I've seen. You never see them like chucking VHS tapes outside of Walmart like that, especially now. But yeah, like I said, just pretty much going through all this stuff and see if there's anything in here different. It's a lot of the same kind of stuff, but every so often there are some random different things mixed in. Yeah, they put this like in the longest bag on the planet. Look how big this bag is. Like long, it hangs down, but I ended up getting that Baywatch one. Like I said, I never saw an episode of that show in my entire life. It was $3, and the other thing was $2, and it just looked so strange, that religious one. That was like, and I think it was originally from like, it was produced, the special in '83 or something like that, but looked really, really odd. Into Target we go. And right here, though, in the front of the store, though, where they have the new stuff, they have Bohemian Rhapsody here, the 4K for $24.99. I don't see the exclusive ones, so I have to head over to the actual section, see if that one's over there. And over here though, in here though, they actually do have a standee up here for Bohemian Rhapsody. They actually have the record for sale here as well. But their exclusive here is, I don't see the price on it, but it has like, actually has like a slipcover over it, and underneath of it is the actual, the digibook thing here, and it has a 24-page gallery book, and this is how like the discs are in there, kind of slides in like that. That's actually pretty coal though. Like I said, I don't know for sure what the price is on this one here, but definitely is a cool release. It's the same cover though, it's on the standard Blu-ray, but like I said, it's in the gallery book underneath. I've never seen one of these ones where the slipcover comes off like this. At least, yeah, see, it comes all the way off like this. I haven't seen one of these ones like that here before. And they have a thing on here right now, buy 2, get 1 free on all board games, movies, books, and video games. So that's a pretty good deal going today if you guys are planning on getting like a couple different things like Bohemian Rhapsody, and one of the other ones today, you know, Nobody's Fool, which is Tyler Perry's movie. That one's $19.99. And then other than that, they have Front Runner in here today. That seems to be all of the main things. They do have over here though, the, I think I saw, yeah, they have the Nightflyers as well. Like I said, let me know if you guys have watched this show, how this one is, if this one is worth picking up or anything, because I have not heard anything at all about this one, so I really don't know. And they have these ones here, like that are older editions here. They're just like repackaged that have like $8 movie money to see that movie Alita, Battle Angel, which I'm really glad that's going to come out because that had a lot of delays on it. I think it was supposed to come out like a year or so ago, and it's finally getting released. But I really look forward to seeing that Alita movie. That comes out this weekend. But yeah, like I said, if you guys are interested in seeing that and don't have any of these editions here or these titles already, they include $8 to see the movie. And this past weekend, I saw a couple different films. And the first one I saw was the film The Prodigy, and that's one of the, I have to say, that's probably one of the most out there, like, you know, insane horror movies that I've seen in theaters in a really, really long time, and probably one of the most memorable ones, like one of those ones that I really feel like you're going to remember. And because there's some horror movies and some movies you see after you watch them, like, you know, a couple months later, you totally forget about them. That movie was actually really interesting. And it's essentially, though, about this couple that ends up having this kid. And, you know, he starts out, like, when he's younger, he's, like, super intelligent. And he starts talking when he's, like, less than 1 year old. And he's just acting like there's something really odd and off about him. And as he gets older, he gets into like elementary school. I think it was elementary school or preschool. Like he starts like kind of something happens to him where all of a sudden he ends up like kind of zoning out, and like people, like the parents are like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, what happened? I don't know what happened to me." And so essentially though, something is happening to him, and he starts like, you know, getting like violent essentially, and like it's sort of like a bad seed kind of thing going on with the kid, but then like all these other twists and stuff that are totally unexpected. I really, really like that one. The other one that I saw was the Taraji P. Henson film, What Men Want, which is essentially the sort of the remake of What Women Want. You know, it starred Mel Gibson. It's sort of the similar story, but not exactly a remake, because in the, you know, the Mel Gibson film, it was like he ended up having the ability to hear what women were thinking. In this film, you know, Taraji P. Henson's character is like hearing, you know, what men are thinking, and she works at this like sports agency, and like where she pretty much works with like 90% men, and like he has a hard time like getting further in the company and getting like promoted and everything, and she starts like hearing everything that people that she works with are thinking about her, and like all these weird things and everything, and you know, she's trying to use the ability of that to, you know, try and get further in the company and everything like that. But then there's all kind of problems and everything. I thought it was actually kind of funny. It's one of those movies though, I felt like it ran like a little longer than it should have been, but overall though, I really did like it. And the last one I saw was the Liam Neeson film Cold Pursuit, which is actually a remake. What's funny too is the director who made the remake actually directed the original film, so I never saw the original one. If you guys have seen the original movie that it was a remake of, let me know though if that one's worth watching as well, or if it's like really different, or it's like pretty much like a scene for scene kind of remake or anything. But essentially though, Liam Neeson's character is this plow driver who, I think he's in Colorado, and he kind of plows through these like huge banks of snow and everything, and his son ends up getting killed by these drug dealers. And it's kind of like Liam Neeson finds out about this, and it's him essentially trying to track down and find everyone involved and trying to take them all out and everything. And the movie takes some like crazy turns and stuff in it. It's like you can tell that it was like a remake of a film, I think it's from like Sweden or Norway, but it has like that kind of vibe because the way like some of the humor and everything, and it just has some ridiculous kind of like stuff, especially the stuff on like the skiing sequence, which is like just nuts. But if you guys saw any of those movies though, let me know, what you guys thought of them, or what you guys got to see this past weekend, if you got to see anything. Into Best Buy we go. And over here, though, they actually do have some of the Steelbooks still. They have 3 of them here. I have to look in the actual section, too, if they have any more of these. But these are really cool, the way these look. I can't think of any other in the past, like, all gold Steelbooks like this. So this is definitely very cool. It's for the 4K edition as well, so that one's $29.99 for this in here. Like I said, we'll head over to the section, too, and see if they have any more of these. And they actually do have quite a few copies in here, because over here in the section, they have a standee here. They have a bunch of the Steelbooks here as well for this one. And then over here, I saw a couple other ones as well. Over here, there's a few ones as well. So like with Steelbooks, you never know. Sometimes they can go really quick. It all depends. Like some of them, they only end up having like 2 or 3 or 4 copies or so. So they go really quick. But other than that in here, I'm trying to see anything else new that I'm seeing in here. They have At Eternity's Gate here. That one's $16.99 here for the Blu-ray of that one. Other than that, I'm trying to see if there's any other ones mixed in here. In the front, I wasn't seeing anything else new. It seems like, oh yeah, they have Front Runner here. That one's $22.99 for that one. I don't see Nobody's Fool anywhere, unless that one was in the front, but I wasn't seeing that one. At least I didn't notice that in the front. Other than that, though, that seems to be all of the major new things in here today. So anyway though, guys, that's all for my DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also in the comments below, let me know, if you guys picked up anything, what you guys picked up on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K. Also let me know as well, what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that we're reviewing at the end of this video coming up now. But anyway though, guys, thanks again for watching and subscribing. Now stay tuned for the reviews. And the first one I got is from Shout Factory Scream Factory line, and it's the Poison Ivy collection here, which includes all 4 films in the Poison Ivy series, which is Poison Ivy 2, Lily, which stars Alyssa Milano, Poison Ivy, The New Seduction, which stars Jamie Presley, as well as Poison Ivy, The Secret Society. Now, on these, though, for the first 3 films, it includes the R-rated cuts of the films, as well as the unrated cuts. The 4th film, though, it includes the unrated cut. That's the only cut that was ever released for that one. Now, also, though, if you guys watch for the first 3 films, the unrated versions of them, though the unrated sequences that are like added back into the movie are all in standard definition. So like the sequences, like if it cuts to something that was one of the unrated scenes, that stuff ends up being in standard definition. But still, really glad that they included those ones on here. Now, if you guys have not seen these films, I'm mainly going to be talking about the first film, which stars Sarah Gilbert and Drew Barrymore. It's essentially, though, it's at this like private school, and Sarah Gilbert's there, and she's kind of like the outcast of the school. She's not really that popular, and she always sees this one girl who's been there, and they don't say exactly how long she's been there, but she's like the kind of popular girl played by Drew Barrymore. And she sees her and kind of really wishes she could become friends with her. And, early on, though, they end up sort of start to talk. And the one day, she needs a ride. And, Sarah Gilbert's, father, who's like the weatherman. He's like the news broadcaster who's like kind of like the popular guy. But something has happened with him, and, he might be losing his job. And everything's kind of up in the air. So everything is kind of all messed up. But essentially, though, one day, though, he ends up driving home to his house. Drew Barrymore's character, and she ends up coming over, and ends up essentially, though, once she comes over to the house, she kind of never leaves, and she just sort of stays there. And of course, though, Tom Selleck, who's Sarah Gilbert's father in the movie, he starts to really like Drew Barrymore and starts really staring at her and kind of becoming obsessed with her. And his wife, she's really sick, and she's in the house and on oxygen. She doesn't go outside. She doesn't leave. She's really extremely depressed and everything. And essentially, though, it's all about Drew Barrymore's character kind of taking over this house and kind of causing all kinds of weird drama, and she's kind of scheming things and purposely doing things that kind of cause stress in the house and more kind of drama and stuff. She's also trying to really seduce Tom Selleck's character, and it's all these kind of stuff going on. But I always really like this movie. Definitely one, if you guys have not seen this one, definitely worth checking out. And also the 3 sequels in here, they all are they're related in some ways, because the sequel is about like Liz Minnelli's character finding the diary of Drew Barrymore's character and kind of like emulating a little bit of what's going on, and she like this teacher becomes obsessed with her, and like the third one is like connects. It's like Jane Presley's character is going over this house and she's causing all this turmoil. And then the fourth one is kind of like a Mean Girls kind of like mixed with Heathers kind of vibe with like these really popular girls at this college and everything, and like these really bad stuff going on. But like the first one though, of course, is my favorite. But on here though, it has a brand new commentary track with the director Kat Shea on Poison Ivy. So that's really cool. They have a new feature on here. But if you guys have not seen these movies, definitely worth checking out. Really glad these ones are all available now on Blu-ray here. And the next one I got here is from Shout Factory as well, and this is from their Shout Select line. It's a movie here called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which stars Steve Martin and Michael Caine. Essentially, though, both their characters are these con men who find women that they, believe have a lot of money. And they kind of, get them to pay for things and find ways to like say, like, Michael Caine's character acts like that he's like the ruler of this village, and like the village needs all this money, and like she gives him money for that. And like Steve Martin's character is like on the train. That's where they both meet. Michael Caine's character and Steve Martin's character are on this train, but Steve Martin's on there, like goes to like the dinner car in the train. He finds this woman there and sits with her, and he's like saying, oh, he looks at the menu and says, oh, I wish I could afford this. I have all my money saved to give to my sick grandmother. And she's like, oh, I'll get your food, I'll help you out. And that's how both of them meet on this train. And then, Michael Caine's character is going back to this, this area in France where he lives, and it has this villa, and he essentially is there kind of finding women that are there and getting money from them and like tricking them and all that kind of stuff. And Steve Martin's character ends up wanting to go to the same area, and like they end up with all these kind of encounters, and early on they start kind of working together. But what ends up happening though is they end up, Michael Caine's character though was kind of really messing around though with Steve Martin though, and sort of tricking him and everything. But basically what ends up happening though is they come up with this idea of this bet, because Steve Martin really wants to be where, Michael Caine's living, and wants to kind of be in this area and find women that are there and like con them out of money and everything. And it's hard for him to do that with Michael Caine there doing that already. So essentially they come up with this bet where they say, like, if, they find one woman and if they can get $50,000 from her, and the woman's played by Glenn Headley, and it's like, if they can get the money from her, whoever can get the money first, will end up being the winner. So if Steve Martin wins and gets the money first from her, he ends up getting to stay, and then Michael Caine has to leave. And that's essentially what it is, and it's kind of them trying to figure out how they're going to get this money from her, and they come up with this whole plan and everything. I don't want to say too much about what happens or anything, but it's a really fun movie. It's one of those ones too. I don't know how I never saw this one till now. I don't know. I really like this one a lot. Has on here though a brand new 2K scan of the film, which looks really good on Blu-ray. Really great transfer on this one. Also has on here a brand new interview with the writer of the film, as well as a commentary track on here with Frank Oz. Frank Oz also directed What About Bob, which is one of my other movies that I absolutely love. It also has on here archival featurette as well as the theatrical trailers on this one. The next one here is from Lionsgate, and this one is the 4K Ultra HD edition here of Robin Hood here. This one is essentially, there's been a lot of Robin Hood films in like recent years. My favorite Robin Hood, to me, always is the Kevin Costner one, because that's the one I remember so well as a kid. Like I remember especially like that music video. I kind of remember the music video more than the movie. That was always like my favorite one. And this one is much more of a kind of a gritty, different kind of more, sort of a little bit more of a violent take on Robin Hood. And like it also kind of changes things around a little bit. Like Robin Hood's character is a lot younger in this. And essentially though, they also show more, too, about Robin Hood's character kind of having money and kind of coming from all these, like, having all this stuff, and it was kind of getting taken away from him. They, like, talk about that a little bit in the Kevin Costner film, but they don't really get into it as much. They kind of, like, it kind of jumps into the story a little quicker. This one, though, shows how Robin Hood, was with the Maid Marian's character, and, like, hopefully I'm not mixing that up, but essentially though, like his girlfriend's character, and he ends up having to go away to war, but then when he gets back, his like castle was like taken from him, and like it was like real messed up and destroyed. And it's essentially though about Ben Mendelsohn's character, who is the sheriff of Nottingham, who's pretty much gone and like taken over, and he's like causing all these problems and everything. It's essentially though about Taron Egerton's character, along with Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx's character is Little John in this, and it's essentially though they're like teaming up together to try and take and to kind of take over and everything, and get rid of, the sheriff, played by Ben Mendelsohn, who, of course, Ben Mendelsohn is, like, trying to, like, get Robin Hood, and he's, like, putting a bounty on him, and all this kind of stuff, and Robin Hood is kind of, like, the reason why Little John's character is kind of helping him, and everything is because he tried to save his, son, and so they kind of all these different things. Like I said, it changes around the story in a lot. It's like it says in the very beginning, too, like, kind of forget what you know about Robin Hood. This is kind of a whole new take on it and everything, and they also have much more like advanced like weapons and stuff that they have, like, because there's a lot of bow and arrows and everything, but it's like these super advanced ones that can shoot like a whole bunch real quick, and it's much, like I said, it's got a different kind of take on it than like than the past films that there have been. This has on here though deleted scenes, outtakes. It has a 7-part making of documentary on this one, so a whole bunch of different features on this one. And then 4K wise though, if you guys have 4K though, this one looks really, really good on 4K. Like I always say with 4K, the big thing that you always notice is like the brightness levels. It's a much, to me, at least that's what I always see, is it's a much, much brighter picture, and it also has much more contrast levels to everything in this, and it's a very, very gritty film. So, because like I said, it's a lot of gritty sequences and everything in it, so it definitely benefits for, with 4K. Next one here from Foxx, and this one is, stars Rami and Malek, and this is the story of, the story of Freddie Mercury from the band Queen. This is Bohemian Rhapsody. Rami Malek is, of course, up for the, Oscar for Best Actor in this film, and, he won the Golden Globe. I really hope he wins the Academy Award, the Oscar for his performance in this movie. Like, he's, like, really, really makes this film, and it's so much about, like, when it comes to this movie, is like, it's, like, all on his shoulders of the performance, and he does an amazing job totally becoming Freddie Mercury, the Freddie Mercury character, and like totally you forget that it's Rami Malek, and that's, to me, when you think of a good performance, that's what you really like. That was where you basically forget who it's. You don't, because some actors and stuff like that, when you see them acting and stuff, you kind of like go, oh yeah, I know this is like this person, and they don't really change things around too much, and it's kind of sort of like they're always them in the movies. But like with Rami Malek, like he really becomes the characters, especially in this film. He became Freddie Mercury, and this is all the story about Freddie Mercury and kind of his start, and how Queen was put together, and kind of it's essentially too about dealing with him, finding out that he has AIDS, and all the kind of stuff about him coming out about being gay at a time when people really aren't coming out about it, and it's all that kind of stuff going on. It's a very well done biopic on the life of Freddie Mercury, and it's also a very emotional film too. Like, it was one of those things that you get really emotional by the end of this movie, and it's all leading up to Live Aid. But one, if you guys have not seen this one, would highly, highly recommend you guys check this one out. Really love this movie. Has on here the complete Live Aid movie performance in here, not seen in theaters, so it has the whole thing on here, as well as a featurette on here about Rami Malek becoming Freddie Mercury, as well as a recreating Live Aid sequence here, talking about how they recreated it, as well as the look and sound of Queen. But definitely one I recommend you guys check out. Let me know below, though, if you guys saw the movie, what you thought. The next one here is from Universal, and this is one I was really interested in seeing, and this is Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. And one thing I want to say first, too, I don't want to forget, is Danny Elfman did the music in this, the score and everything, and it was amazing because it was some of the music in here was a total throwback to like his real classic stuff, like that he was doing the days of like Edward Scissorhands and like Batman Returns, when he was doing like all these kind of stuff with vocals and like those kind of stuff that he doesn't really do too much anymore. And there was like one or two tracks, I think it was two tracks in here, they were real throwbacks to that style, and it was like, wow, that's like old school Danny Elfman music, which I loved. And it was like I didn't know going into it that Danny Elfman did the music, but I'm like, yeah, right when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, this has got to be Danny Elfman. The last time he did like throwback music like that was in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake. I feel like that was like the last time, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I feel like that was like the last time he kind of brought back that old style. But essentially, though, this is the feature-length animated version of the Grinch, because they made a feature-length live action which starred Jim Carrey, and then the original Grinch was think it was like, I can't remember how long it was. It was like 30 minutes long or so. This one's about 83 minutes or so, I believe. This is essentially, though, it expands upon the story of the Grinch, because it's like essentially, though, the Grinch who lives on the top of the mountain in Whoville, and he's like really grumpy, and he lives with his dog Max, and I believe the dog is Max. Yeah, it's essentially, though, him with his dog, and he doesn't really like anybody except his dog, and he hates the town, especially during Christmas time, and they're all like really all about having big Christmas, and the biggest this year that it takes place, they're going to be having the biggest Christmas party of all time. And Kenan Thompson is the voice of like kind of the guy who's like the head of putting together the Christmas festivities and like bringing in this big tree and everything. And basically, though, the Grinch wants to figure out how to like ruin Christmas and like go in there and get rid of all the decorations, and he wants to basically dress like Santa and go in there and like get rid of everything. I actually really enjoyed this. I thought this was actually really cool, like different take on the whole thing. Like I said, I really loved Danny Elfman's music in this. On here, though, it has 3 mini movies. 2 of them are Minion related, and then one of them is a Grinch mini movie on here. It also has a making of, the shorts on here. And then it has some featurettes on here about like the Grinch's gadgets that he has in the film, as well as my earliest Grinch memories, with some of the characters talking about, the voice actors talking about the Grinch and their memories of the Grinch, as well as a couple other featurettes on this one as well. But like I said, I thought this actually was a really fun movie here. And the next one I got here is from Warner Brothers. They sent out a free copy of this one to let you guys know that this is available. This is A Star is Born, which is directed by and starring Bradley Cooper and starring Lady Gaga, who's up for, an Oscar nomination for Best Actress in this film. And essentially, though, it's also up for Best Picture as well. Now, like, this is like, I think the 4th rendition of, the Star is Born film. I think, I don't know if it's the 4th or 3rd. The last one was Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson, which I really liked that one as well. I think I like this one, though, a little bit more. As much as I really love that one, I don't know, Lady Gaga did an amazing job in this. And, like, her vocals and everything are amazing in this. And essentially, though, this is about Bradley Cooper's character, who is this, like, country musician who was really, really popular, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit. He's not doing that great because he's had really terrible problems with alcohol, and he's like getting drunk all the time. And the one night, though, he has his driver take him to the bars, and he's going around to bars and everything. But he goes in and he sees Lady Gaga performing at this one club that he goes into, and he like becomes like infatuated with her and her voice and everything. And essentially, though, he basically says, I want to help you out, and I want to help you, with your music, and help you, become something, and become famous with what you do. And she's kind of like, oh, well, and it's essentially, though, about them kind of getting together and falling in love. But her kind of, realizing too about him and his drinking and all that. But him kind of helping her, at the same time, she's also helping him with his problems and kind of helping him have new material, because like he's been kind of performing the same stuff and kind of sort of stuck in a rut a little bit. And she's kind of helping him, and as well as the same time that he's helping her. But it is a really, really well put together movie, just really well acted. It's one of those ones, if you guys have not seen this one, this is absolutely a must watch. Amazing, like I said, amazing music in this one. This has on here, though, songs and performances not seen in theaters in this one, the making of Star is Born, as well as music videos. And also, this, like I said, this is the 4K edition. So 4K wise, though, definitely an improvement of the film. Looks amazing. So if you guys have 4K capacities, definitely recommend you guys check this one out. Like I said too, in the past, and the other reviews and everything, 4K to me, always the big thing is the HDR, which is like the contrast levels and the brightness levels. So anytime you have the opportunity to watch something in 4K, I would definitely just say, just because it boosts the picture all around. The next one here is from Paramount. This is Tyler Perry's new film. This is Nobody's Fool, which stars Tiffany Haddish, Whoopi Goldberg. This is a really funny movie. I've always been a fan of Tyler Perry's movies. I always really like his stuff, especially, of course, the Medea films. And I know he's going to be ending the Medea character, at least for now. I don't know, maybe he'll come back again down the line. He's got one more Medea movie, but maybe he'll come back down the line and do another Medea movie years from now. You never really know, but I hope he does. I really do. And I know, like, because, like, this movie, you know, this is his first R-rated movie that's a comedy. Because he's done R-rated, like, dramas. This is his first R-rated comedy. And after watching this, I'm like, man, it really would be funny to see R-rated Medea. You know, like, totally, you know, crazy all R-rated Medea. But essentially, though, this is about Tiffany Haddish and her sister. And her sister is kind of, like, sort of more straight-laced and kind of, like, normal and everything. But Tiffany Haddish is kind of crazy and wild and, like just, like, totally crazy the way she acts and everything. But she finds out about her sister is, like, dating this guy, but it's like, you know, she's never met him, and it's like, you know, never seen any pictures of him, and she doesn't really know anything, you know what I mean? And she's like, you know, you're being catfished, and I can guarantee you're being catfished. And even Max and Neve have, you know, parts in this movie as well, you know, who are from Catfish. But it's essentially, though, just about, like, you know, her with this guy, and her, like, trying to figure out her, like, what she's doing with her life and everything, and having some problems with her work and everything. It's just a really, really fun movie, and I really like seeing, like, you know, Tyler Perry's writing, you know, like I said, in a comedy form and R-rated, because he just goes totally crazy. You could tell, too, he was really letting Tiffany Haddish kind of just go nuts with what she was saying, because some of the stuff is, like, totally, like, wacky, ridiculous, over-the-top stuff. But it has on here, though, deleted and extended scenes, as well as alternate scenes, gag reel, some featurettes on this one. But definitely check this one out. Just a really, really fun comedy. The next one here is from Epic Pictures line here called Dread. And this is a movie called The Golem. These are from the directors who made the movie Jerusalem, which is a I can't remember if it was found footage or not, but I remember I really, really liked that one. But this one is called The Golem. This is basically, though, this is set, I think it was like 1658 or something that this was set. And it's set in this Jewish community. And it's about this one woman who has had really terrible luck with getting pregnant. And the last kid that they had, you know, had ended up dying. And it's all set at the time, too, you know, where, like, the women are not allowed to go to the temple and, like, hear anything about the religious, you know, verses or anything like that. And she kind of, her husband lets her read the book and everything, and read the text, you know, and everything that she's not supposed to read, but he lets her. So she kind of knows certain things about this. And at the same time, about her not being able to have this kid and stuff, and not having any luck. Also, in the nearby village, people there are all getting sick, and the plague is going on. And the one guy who's kind of the head of this village comes over, like, in a furious rage, saying, like, you sent this plague over here, and you've cursed us, and, you know, and if you don't, you know, take, you know, this plague off, everyone in your village is going to die. So all this stuff is going on. This woman here, she, you know, who, you know, has been reading about these books and everything, says that she wants to kind of conjure up a golem, which would be something like this kind of creature that would kind of come and do the bidding of, like, taking out these people, you know, the nearby village. Because basically it's like, what ends up happening, though, because the one guy from the nearby village is, like, I think it was his daughter or his sister got really sick, and she's, like, dying of the plague, and they're, like, saying, if you can't cure her, you're all going to be killed. And she kind of knows that there's no way this person can be cured, because it's the plague and everyone is dying off. So she wants to conjure up this thing, and of course, conjuring up this thing was not a good idea. And I don't know, this was actually a very, very creepy movie. Kind of has vibes of the movie The Witch a little bit, but it has on here a commentary track on here with the director, a making of the Golem, deleted scenes, a making of the Golem soundtrack, a Fright Fest interview, teaser trailer, and theatrical trailer. This is also the first release from Dread's, because they've been rebranded as now Dread. So this is the first release on the Dread line. Next one here is from Sony. It's a movie starring Hugh Jackman, as well as Sarah Paxton is in this movie. Vera Farmiga, I always saying her name wrong. J.K. Simmons, and this is called The Front Runner. This is essentially, though, this is a true story. The character here is politician Gary Hart, who was basically, like, in the front running to be, you know, one of the nominees for president. And what ends up happening, though, is, you know, he's like the person that everybody is, like, looking to, and, like, looks like he's really going to, like, has a good chance of actually winning. But he ends up getting, like, all kind of it's all about, like, the press and the paparazzis and stuff discovering about how he's having this affair, and it's kind of like coming out about this and about who he's, you know, sleeping with. And it's like the wife finds out about it, and it's like kind of becomes this whole terrible thing. And like it ends up becoming he has to answer for all these things that are happening, and like things are falling apart all around him and everything. It's just a really, really well done character piece, all about, you know, like I said, a true story, all about what he was going through, his character was going through, and all this stuff that's happening, and kind of how things can look so good and look like they're really working out, and then it all can fall apart. And, you know, if you're a public figure, how, you know, your personal life can kind of come out and everyone can find out about everything. But it has on here, though, a filmmaker's commentary on this one. This also this directed by Jason Reitman, who's, like, you know, directed Juno and a bunch of other stuff. Always really liked his stuff that he has done. And it, you know, also has on here deleted scenes and a making of featurette on this one. Next two here, I'll have a link where you guys can order these ones for the best price, but they're from a website called Movie Zing. This is a Universal film here called, from Universal, called Heart and Souls, which stars Robert Downey Jr. and Charles Grodin. I have to say, first of all, though, this is one of those movies. I never saw this one before, but like I watched this one, and in one sequence in this, it had like one of those true cries. You know, like sometimes if you're watching a movie, you kind of tear up, but then sometimes you're watching a movie and it's like, like, oh, you know, like real cry. Like that's what I did on that TV show called Kidding, Jim Carrey show. I had some real cries. I had a real true cry watching this movie. It's very sad, but essentially though, this is about these three characters who are all going on this bus, and they all kind of come from different walks of life. Like Tom Sizers's character is like this criminal who like steals some things, and then one character is like this woman who is like kind of is afraid to take the next step with her boyfriend and getting married. And then one is a woman who's a mother with these kids. And then Charles Grodin's character is this guy who's like really afraid of like singing in public, but that's like his dream. But he's afraid of going on stage and kind of like auditioning or like letting anyone actually see his talent. But they're all together on this bus and get into this terrible accident and all die and end up becoming angels, guardian angels to this kid who is just being born. And he was like in a car nearby, and like the kid grows up to be Robert Downey Jr.'s character. But before this, though, you see like when he's a little kid, the Guardian Angels characters all around him. They all have to kind of put up with each other, and like they have to try and like you know, watch him and help him, and they talk to him and everything. And they all think the kid's crazy because you know, he's talking to these imaginary friends and everything. And they come up with early on in this movie, they're like, okay, we can't do this to him anymore. We got to disappear, be in the background. But then it cuts to when he grows up, and it turns out though they're supposed to have gone and like help, you know, figured out problems of their past, and like, you know, that's why they were actually there. It was not really to be his guardian angel. They were there and they didn't get told this, and so they were with him for like 30 years before they're told this, that they were supposed to actually be there to correct one thing or do one thing or put one thing right from their past, so then they can go and move on to their next life. But it is a really, 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 you know, good movie. This one, like I said, I don't know how I never saw this movie. Highly recommend you guys check this one out. The next one here is from the Warner Archive, and I'll have a link as well, like I said, for you to order this one for the best price. This is the complete fourth season here of the show Step by Step, which is one of the shows that was on TGIF. So I've talked about in the past. It's one of the TGIF shows that I feel like is one of the lesser spoken about ones, because you know, when you think about TGIF, the ones that you always hear about the most, of course, is Full House, then Family Matters, and then, you know, the ones that the archive has been releasing recently, Step by Step and Perfect Strangers. Step by Step was known a little bit more, but not as one of the ones that was rerun as often as the other ones. And I always really like this one, and it's essentially about these two families that come together, and they both have different kids on their side, and it's all about them kind of getting along together, and sort of has a vibe of Brady Bunch a little bit. And you know, Steve Urkel's character popped in like 2 or 3 episodes of the show, I think 2 or something like that. I can't remember for sure how many, but like they all the shows, it was kind of cool was back then they would all kind of cross over every so often a little bit. It's like, you know, Perfect Strangers was a spin-off, you know, I mean, Family Matters was a spin-off of Perfect Strangers. But it's basically, though, just all about this family and the kind of stuff that they get into and their problems at school and their problems in life and everything. But really, really glad that this show is coming out, because this one I always watched as a kid and always really, really liked. And the next one here is from BBC, and I want to let you guys know that this one is available. And this is Doctor Who, the Peter Davison season. This is the complete Season 1 set. The thing with Doctor Who, if you guys don't know, the thing that's kind of cool about it is, every few seasons, the Doctor ends up changing out, and he kind of morphs into a new Doctor. Most recently, the Doctor has now become a woman character, so this is the first time ever a Doctor Who character has been a woman. But like every so often throughout the show, I don't know if it's a certain amount of years or so, or a certain amount of seasons, but it ends up becoming a different actor playing the Doctor, which is kind of a cool thing. If you guys don't know too, essentially though, it's about the character of of Doctor Who ends up, you know, traveling back in time, and he ends up like encountering aliens and all sorts of weird type of things happen. I remember watching this show a lot as a little kid. I used to rent like VHSs of this as a kid from Blockbuster. Like some of the early episodes of them, I remember renting them all the time. And like at the same time I was renting like the Star Trek VHSs and all that kind of stuff. But I really remember renting these, and it's really cool to see these ones getting these Blu-ray releases. And there's a bunch of different features on here, like you know, in conversation with Peter Davison. You know, it's an hour-long interview with him about the show. Has on here interviews with the cast and crew on this. Has rare studio footage on here from some of the episodes. Extended version of Black Orchid Part 1. It has immersive 5.1 sound mixes for episodes Kinda and Earthshock, as well as you know, optional updated special effects on one of the episodes on this one. So it's a really cool release here. Like I said, just want to let you guys know that this is available from you know, BBC here. The next ones here are from Mill Creek. This is a set here called Queens of Scream, which has 3 movies, which has I Know What You Did Last Summer, Vacancy, and When a Stranger Calls. Know What You Did Last Summer is, you know, a great slasher movie. Around the same time as Scream and like Urban Legends. Essentially though, about like in the beginning of the film, they end up hitting this guy, and like they kind of cover up his death, and like that's essentially what it is. And like, you know, someone is coming back the following summer, and like the kids that were involved in all this, like killing them off one by one. And Vacancy is this couple that ends up going to this, you know, kind of rundown motel, and of course though you find out there's some really shady stuff going on there. And When a Stranger Calls is that this one is the remake of the remake of When a Stranger Calls, which I really liked the remake of this one. You know, I like the original movie was a really good movie, but I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking, you know, it's an okay movie, in the sense about this girl who's like at this house and she's getting these like obscene calls from this guy who's kind of messing with her and stuff. And it's actually, like I said, a pretty decent movie. The next one here is a double feature, which includes also too, they includes the Blu-ray and the DVD in this set. Same with this set here, has the Blu-ray and the DVD, and this is the double feature of you know, Hostel and Hostel 2. I do hope, too, at some point, Hostel 3 gets a Blu-ray release in the U.S., because I always liked the third one as well. It wasn't great, but there was stuff about it that I kind of liked. And essentially, though, the first Hostel is about these friends that are going over to, I think it was in, was it Russia? I believe it was Russia. And they end up going there, and they end up, like, getting, like, there's basically, you find out about this place where they're like killing people, and people pay money to kill people, and these guys end up getting themselves, you know, somehow involved with this and stuck there. And the second one is about these girls. The first one is about guys, the second one is about these girls there, and they get involved in the whole thing. And they're super brutal movies, and I actually really like Eli Roth's movies. I know some people really don't, and there's kind of like a mix up between them. Either you really love Eli Roth films or you really don't. I always have. I've never seen these in theaters. The second one though is a harder watch film though. It is, because especially the stuff with you know, Heather Marzano's character is kind of like that was the only part that kind of bothered me a little bit. That stuff, some of it was just a little more intense, but there is some really good revenge stuff too at the end of this one. But definitely though, if you guys have never seen these movies, definitely worth checking out. It has the Blu-ray and the DVD, and great to have both of them together there in a set like that. This one here, one of you guys know, this is available as well from Mill Creek, and this is the complete series of Astro Boy, and this is the 2003 reboot series here, which includes all 50 episodes on 4 discs featuring the rebirth of Astro at the hands of malevolent Dr. O'Shea. So it has on here, like this, I didn't even know that they actually brought the show back in 2003. Like I said, this has the entire series when they rebooted the show on here. So if you guys were interested in this, let's, like I said, one of you guys know that this one is available. The next one here is from VCI. This is a movie called Kiss of the Tarantula, and this has the Blu-ray and the DVD in this one as well. And this one is essentially, though, kind of has like the vibe a little bit. Around this time they were making like kind of animal attack sort of movies, and like this isn't like that kind of thing like where it's like crazy animals or anything, but around this time they were doing like Willard and those type of things where it was kind of about like an animals and ants and all that kind of stuff. And this is basically though about this girl who lives in this mortuary funeral home, and like it's essentially though anybody that kind of crosses her and stuff, she has these like pet tarantulas, and she's kind of trains them, and they end up like attacking and killing people that she's kind of against and everything. And it's like a really crazy stuff that's going on. It was very, very atmospheric and everything. And like I said, it's got a similar kind of feel, the way the movie plays out and just like the vibe of it to Willard, a little bit that kind of a feel. And it's from I think it's like it's from 1975. I think Willard was a couple years before that. So it's like I said, around that time they were making a couple different, like a number of different films like this. Some of them were like TV movies and stuff. Like I think Ants was a TV film. This has on here though the new 2018 comedy track on here with David Duval and David Dakota on this one, as well as the original theatrical trailer. And also though it's remastered and restored. It has a remastered and restored 2K scan for the original 35mm negative. So also looks really good too. A new good scan on this. This one, like one of you guys know, this is available, and this is from MVD's Marquee Collection. This one, you guys know that this one was out, and this is Roadhouse 2, which stars Jonathan. I never know how to say his name right. Jonathan Sharon. I never can say it right. And also Jake Busey and Will Patton. This is basically though about a character who is the son of Patrick Swayze's character, who, you know, of course, went in there in the Roadhouse and kind of like took control of this crazy rowdy bar, and he's now been called to this bar because you know, his son. And because this bar has kind of like been taken over, and they're having all sorts of problems and stuff there with drugs and all sorts of things, and he's pretty much there to try and like take control of the whole thing. But like I said, just want you guys know that this one is available from MVD. Now this one here is a UK release from a company called Screenbound, but this one is a Blu-ray and DVD combo. But just to let you guys know, the Blu-ray in here is region free, so you guys can watch this one on any player. You don't have to have any all region player or anything to watch this movie, so you guys can watch this one in the U.S. no problem. It's a movie called Crucible of the Vampire. This is essentially though about trying to make sure I don't forget exactly what happens, but so, yeah, essentially though, it's about this girl who comes to this mansion because they believe that they found this part of this what is the thing? It was kind of like a cooking. What exactly was that? It was like a I'm trying to figure out what exactly that thing was called. It was like I guess some kind of like a pot, like kind of like a cooking pot or something. And they found like portion of it, and because in this museum they had the one half, and they believe that they tracked down the other half, and that's what she's there to kind of investigate to see if the thing is real. And it's basically her going to this mansion and like getting there. And coming to find out, though, that there's some really weird stuff going on there. The people there are really odd, and the way they're acting is really strange. And like, you know, it's got like an old school throwback to like the Jess Franco kind of Gene Rollin like vampire movies. It's got like that kind of a throwback kind of vibe to it. But actually, it was actually kind of an interesting, like I said, throwback to those type of movies. The next ones here, these two are from Wild Eye Releasing, and this is a movie here called Doom Room, and this is about this girl who ends up waking up in this one like enclosed room. It's just like it's a really like a small weird room with like this like metal door and everything, and she's in there, but there's all kind of like weird antiques and like prop things and weird dressers and all kind of odd items and everything. When she's in there, she's like has no clue how she's got there or anything, and like all of a sudden, like, characters show up in there. She starts seeing weird things. Weird people sort of start talking to her. And it's like just these odd sort of things. And it's like her trying to figure out, kind of like remembering things little by little and trying to figure out exactly why she's in here and what all of it means and stuff. It's a really interesting thing because, like I said, it's got all these kind of odd items in there, and then like they come into play of what everything starts to mean and everything. This has on here though a director's commentary, cast and crew interviews, making a featurette, costume design featurette, and his closed captions as well. But you know, it really is like, you know, it has some really interesting stuff going on in this. This one is from Wild Eye as well. This is from the Wild Eye Roll Extreme theme line. This is one called Open Wound, and this is another one. This is all kind of in this room, and it's basically about like these two characters, and this is hard to explain though. But it's another one, like I said, trapped in this room. And like it's sort of like they're in there, but then they're the same people, but yet they're playing these other characters like a couple different times in this, and they're in there as well, sort of trying to figure out exactly what they're doing in there, and they're also like, you know, there's some weird stuff going on, and like they're kind of being watched too, so it's got like that kind of like I guess like Cube kind of feel as well, like not with like traps and stuff like that, but like with the aspect of somebody sort of watching what they're doing and everything. Like I said, it's very hard to explain, but it's essentially though a character's playing other things and just some really crazy stuff going on. Now the last two here are both from Uncorked Entertainment. This is a movie here called Elves. This is essentially, though, it's kind of like a Truth or Dare film. It even referenced Truth or Dare in this movie, the most recent film. And this is about, like, these kids that go and like they play this game together, and it's like they write down like the naughty list, and they write down like who's naughty and stuff. It's kind of like a joke, but of course though, anybody that was written down that list, like it actually like some kind of an entity, and this also this weird doll, this weird like creepy looking doll is kind of around as well, but like they kind of end up being possessed, and like it's kind of like I said in Truth or Dare, they have these weird crazy smiles and stuff, and like if they don't do what they're told and things like that, they end up like, you know, basically killing themselves, and they have to like do certain things like you have to do this, or you have to kill this kind of person, or you have to say this, and like I said, it's got that Truth or Dare kind of vibe to it, but it's got this elf mixed in, this elf doll as well. But it's like I said, if you guys are a fan of like Truth or Dare and that kind of thing, this is kind of like a different take on the whole thing. Has on here though cast interviews on this one as well as a theatrical trailer. The last one here is a movie called The Dawn Seeker. This one has a kind of a vibe a little bit of like The Predator. And it's, you know, the directors too, I always like his stuff because he does a really good job with like these like, you know, doing with like special effects and like digital effects and stuff, and the way he kind of builds these whole universes and everything. And this is about the group of these like people who are sent in to try and they have to track down this certain type of an item because it would kind of like what kind of like save the world, this thing they have to try and get. But they're in this area where it's this creature who's out there, like I said, kind of like the Predator, who is kind of trying to come after them and everything. And the suit and everything looks really good on like this creature, the way that they did the creature and everything. And like I said, it's full of special effects and everything. And like I said, the director does an amazing job with building these universes and stuff, and just the way he puts it all together and everything. And it's, like I said, it's essentially about them trying to get a certain item, and you know, having this creature coming after them and everything. Has on here though behind the scenes as well as cast interviews on this one. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.